I'm gonna show you how to do a quick memory acquisition for Windows. This is Windows 10, and this is just so that if you're conducting any kind of digital forensics or you just want to know what's going on in your memory, you can go ahead and have that information available to you. It would be useful if you think about if your disk is encrypted or you can only have access to memory, then that might be the only information that you have to analyze what's going on. And so it would be good to download the memory and look at it. The other thing is there's a lot of information in memory. You have running processes, you have open files, you have registry keys, network information, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you how to use a couple of tools. The first one is pretty easy and it's free. It's called DumpIT. I have it right here downloaded. You just double click it, you hit yes, and then you would click Y, and that's pretty much it. Now if you're trying not to overwrite information on your actual drive, you would want to download it on a USB and then just double click it and hit yes. And then as you can see here, it'll give you how much space is going to take and then how much space you have available, and you click Y, and that would pretty much it. So, and then right there it'll give you where it's going to download. Obviously you would want to do this from a USB, unless you're doing it for educational purposes, then you can click yes. I have it, since I just do it for educational purposes, I have it on my path, so I can just go to my command line, type in DumpIT, and that's pretty much it. I have all my tools on my path, so that way they're easy to access. The next tool would be Ftk Imager. I don't think all of it is free. I did get this part for free, so I'd assume you could probably find either if you ask them, you know, for educational purposes or something, they might be able to give you this this part of it. But anyways, so it's pretty easy. As you can see right here, there's a capture memory button. You would click it, and then if you want to include the page file, you would do that, and then you'd browse wherever you want to download it. Usually you want it a USB, so if you had a USB here, you do it right there, click OK, and all that good stuff. So not pretty hard, right? Just click that button right there. Let me take a look. There are also other artifacts, memory artifacts besides RAM. So I'm going to show you here where they would be located. Generally, if you go to your wherever your disk you have, so mine is this C, it would be located right here, and it would have a few files. The first one I want to talk about is the Hibernation file, which the reason why that's important is because it would contain a compressed image of RAM. Generally, if you use Hibernation, then you would see a file right here that says Hibernation. As long as you had Hibernation enabled, and as long as you had your hidden items checked. So I don't use this computer very much, so you don't have this here, but I do have a computer that I do use Hibernation quite a lot, and this is what it would look like. As you can see here, you could see the hiberfil.sys file, and you see how big it is, so it would hold a lot of information that you could potentially analyze and look at. So that's another one. So you have RAM, you have hiberfil.sys, and then you have the pagefile.sys. As you can see, as I showed you earlier, this would give you an option to just include the pagefile.sys. Obviously, if like the other tool that I showed you didn't, you would have to just download it. And the pagefile.sys would include basically it's used for virtual memory, whether it's you're running out of memory and RAM, parts of the RAM needs to be swapped out, or some of the programs need to be swapped out, you'd find information right there. So obviously that's pretty big, as you can see, and it would have a lot of information about what programs the user was using. So that's one. And then the next part right here is called the swapfile.sys. Same thing, it's similar to the pagefile.sys as far as I could find on the Microsoft website and just online, except this one in particular is used for what they call universal apps. I believe that has to do with the Microsoft Store apps. So whatever apps are in the Microsoft Store, they would generally be used in the swapfile.sys, I guess, instead of the pagefile.sys for virtual memory. And then the last piece of information, I don't know if I have it here, because so this is, it's called a memory dump. So when your system crashes, generally your computer will try to save either a small part of the memory or a large part of their memory that was running, and that one is generally located in your, if you go to your C drive, you go to Windows, you'll see something, a file called let me write it down here. I think I wrote it down. Yes, right there, memory.dmp. So that's where it's located, or Windows/mini-dump.dmp. If you have it so that it only saves a little bit of memory. And so I don't have that on my computer as far as I could check, just because, you know, generally my computers never crash, so I don't have that. But anyways, that would be another part of information, and this is the location of the hiberfil right there, just in your C drive. Same thing with the page file, it's on your C drive, but this is in the Windows directory. So I believe that's it as far as what you would be able to, as far as the important memory artifacts. So just to review, you can use Ftk Imager. You can click this, and then you can include the page file, browse where you want to download it, and you would hit OK, capture memory. And then if you have DumpIT, then you would just double click it, yes, and then hit Y, and that'll start it. Now if you wanted to capture the hiberfil.sys and the other information which is not automatically captured, you would have to add an evidence item. You would do physical drive. I'm going to do just logical, just because I want to just show my C drive. Okay, there's my C drive. You would navigate to where it is located. So obviously for me, it's just right at the root. If you go to C, it'll be just right here, like I showed here. Let me see. Yeah, it'll be just right here. This is my other computer. This is my C drive, and you'll have the files right there. So with Ftk Imager, you would navigate to, so there's your C, you would go to root, and obviously this computer doesn't have it, but you would see your hiberfil.sys right there, and you would just export the item, you'd right click, and you could export files and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it.